And thank you for inviting me to talk about the experiences we have in deploying and customizing Skosmos with my company Sparna in France. We have a few use cases to share. So Sparna is a semantic web consulting company, and in particular specialized in knowledge organization system, and we've been very early adopters of Skos. You can go to the next slide, please. So I have listed here the four main mission in which we have deployed and used Cosmos, always for large public institutions with the mission to publish and disseminate their control vocabularies. The first one in 2015, 2016 was for the UNESCO thesaurus, still online at vocabulariesUNESCO.org. Around 2018 for the Luxembourgish official journal. So all the control vocabularies used for describing the legal resources published through the website Legibux, which is fully based on knowledge graph and relying on a lot of control vocabularies. In 2018, also in 2019, Scholam which is a set of control vocabularies to describe pedagogical resources in France, mostly including all the items of the official school curriculum for children in France. Also still online. And last one with the INRAE. So INRAE is a French Research Institute on Agriculture and Environment for a service of INRAE, which is around open science. And it was coupled with Workbench as a backend SCOS maintenance tool. So as you can see, our experience with Skosmos stopped around 2020. We don't have a more recent experience, so maybe our feedback is a little outdated. And so I'm very excited to know and learn about the latest Skosmos 3 development today. We can go to the next slide. Thanks. So in all this project, we did a few customization of the software. So UI customization. All the clients required CSS customization to have their own colors and their own logos and so on. Some modification inside the code, like arranging the order of the sections in the concept page differently and adding specific link. You can see one on the left, the orange link, which would directly link to the search, the document search interface in the UNESCO thesaurus. So you would get all the document indexed with the concepts that you are looking at in Skosmos. We tested the deployment, the integration of Skosmos with the Virtuoso Triple Store. And for this, we had to do some tiny adjustment in the Sparkle code, really tiny, but because Virtuoso had some, Sparkle specific things. We did the customization for the Arabic language display for the UNESCO deployment, so including the right to left display. We did some customization of how the left tree was displayed. And the last one, which I will talk a little bit more, is a timeline version of concept. So there was a blog post about it. The link is here, and I will show you this in the next slide. This version timeline is the sequence of dots you see at the bottom of the concept page here. So basically, in this deployment of Skosmos, the successive version of all the vocabularies are kept and are still accessible. So here you can see them from 3.2 until 8.0. And we can see in the timeline in which version this specific concept exists. So we can see in the 3.2 and 4.0, this concept didn't exist. The circles are gray, and it was introduced in 5.0 and still exists in 8.0. And users can switch and switch the version and look at the same concepts in a different version of the vocabulary. And you can show the next one where we will see the same with a deprecated concept. So when a concept is being deprecated, and we can see in which version it was deprecated, and it still exists as a deprecated status in subsequent versions. You can go to the next one, please. So yeah, as I said, each version of the vocabulary is kept in the triple store, each in a separate graph. And when we display a concept, then we check the presence of the same concept URI in other graphs corresponding to the other versions of the same concept. So we can know where the same concept exists, and we can display this clickable timeline that will allow a user to switch between the different versions. Because there is a requirement in this project that each versions of the vocabulary remain accessible, so that users that have relied on a specific version can continue browsing this specific version and see how it evolved since. We can go to the next one. So what we love in Skosmos, well, first, I would say the obvious. It has all the features of Scos control vocabulary browsing tool off the shelf. Tree display, alphabetical indexes, the tree of collections, the list of last updated concepts, the nice concept record display with meaningful section, the translation, the synonyms, the alignment, the support for Scos Excel, the search, I mean, you name it, it has everything. It has also very nice to have features around Scos control vocabularies, like listing, giving the list of multiple vocabularies, the feedback form for users to provide feedback, an about page that, where the content can be customized. It works nicely with multilingual vocabularies. It offers content negotiations. There's a high degree of customization, and we use that a lot on the UI side, but also on the code side, and also for internationalization. And I think, as it was mentioned earlier, the fact that the code is in the application is written in PHP, and the code is readable and easily customizable. It enabled us to really dive into it and customize it the way we wanted, which would have been harder if it was packaged with single page application technologies. The deployment is relatively easy. There's good documentation, there's great support, and I can thank the development team here for the support they give us in this project, this various deployment project. The code is clean and it's readable, it's documented, which enabled us to also customize it pretty easily. We can go to the next one. So a few items I could think about on what could be improved. The feedback form can cause security issues. So in most of our deployment, if not all of the deployment, we completely disable the feedback form because those large institutions, they have strong security issues, and they don't want any possible way of compromising their infrastructure. So we just cut off the feedback form. The ability to customize the vocabulary record page itself, including the section order or displaying additional property would be nice. Ability to display more properties on the concept than only pure scores, because sometimes we have scores, but something more than scores. The UI templates at the time were a little complicated to understand. What I mean, when you want to customize CSS, you have to understand the classes and where each part fits, but this might have improved since. We never really used the APIs offered by Skosmos just simply because we had no need for our client. It's important to keep announcing publicly that the tool is maintained as you did it in the first part of the workshop on this morning. It's very important to understand where the project is going in the mid to long term, because that's a very important criteria for the choice of an open source tool for a large public institution. So it's a very good signal to say we're maintaining it. The next version is scheduled. There's a development team that maintains it. So that's a very key criteria. And I think there's a last slide with more general idea on what could be improved. Well, there's no back office for Skosmos, so maybe a simple back office where we could declare a new vocabulary, load the data, update the data of a vocabulary, create the distributions, the downloadable distributions would be nice and would ease the maintenance of the vocabularies instead of going through the triple store management interfaces. And maybe a dream, which would be of keeping all the very nice UI feature Skosmos have, but with the ability to customize it for other data structure than Skos. Some other ontologies and some other data structure also have a tree structure, like we can think about the org ontology with services tree, or completely customizing the section of the UI to display something else than Scos concept. So Skosmos is a really great tool to publish Scos control vocabulary. Nowadays, here at Sparna, we simply don't have many use cases or many clients asking us for control vocabulary dissemination. And when we have such a requirement, we tend to generate static websites out of SCOS RDF data. So that's why we haven't used Cosmos in the last year. Static websites are an alternative way of dissemination. When the data doesn't change often, it eases the deployment, and the websites are simple and load quickly. But again, Cosmos is really, really excellent tool for SCOS control vocabulary dissemination. I think that's all. Thank you.